And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today, I want to share with you guys my thoughts on helping guys to figure out what it is that they want and being able to stick to something for the long period of time in order for them to get the success that they desire. What I've noticed is that there's a huge difference between masculine men and feminine men in terms of understanding what they want and then pursuing it with all of their might, mind, and strength. Because feminine men are confused about what they want. Masculine men, they're able to choose what they want and then go for it. There is no more thinking anymore once they've made a decision. But femininity is stuck in fear and stuck in not being quite sure what to do and where should I go and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know. I need to be led. Do you understand what I mean? Masculinity is a leader by default. If we understand the 5 phases of leadership, masculinity is ultimate leadership, right? Femininity is a follower, which is good. You gotta have that sometimes. But there's 5 phases. And if you're feminine, you're most probably in, or should be in, phase number 1. Phase number 1 is allow yourself to be led. It is a crucial step. You can't skip it. And very often, you're probably still stuck in it if you're still feminine. Okay, but you can't skip it in the sense that you have to choose whose lifestyle you want, and then you've got to follow them to the nth degree. Because the more you spend time with or learn from those that have the lifestyle that you desire, the faster you're going to get the lifestyle that they have. It's not that you are idolizing them or trying to become who they are. You're trying to become your best self, but you need them in order for you to get it. Does that make sense? So instead of you allowing yourself to be led by women, by your mother, by your parents, by college professors, by guys who don't have what you want but are basically leading you towards, towards chasing women or towards going to strip clubs or to whatever it is that you are being distracted by, it's a problem because you're allowing yourself to be led by the wrong people that don't have what you want. Does that make sense? You have to allow yourself to be led. Step number 1, yes, but you got to allow yourself to be led by those that have exactly what you want, that have the things that you have as goals. They already have them. They've gone through the process that you need to go through, but they're already there. So you've got to follow their path, the road that they chose, at the same time as you kind of keep having your own road. Does that make sense? Because you don't want to copy someone absolutely, completely, because then you'll probably do the same mistakes as they did, right? What you want is to follow the footsteps that they say in terms of, very often, the people who are experienced in a specific field or niche, they will tell you to not do what they did. You'll notice that. Because they'll tell you that, man, I've made so many failures, I've done so many ridiculous things, and I made so many mistakes. Don't do what I did. Very often they say, but in order for you to get the results that I have, you need to do this and this and this and this. The reason very often that people are successful is because they failed 1,000 times and they did 999 things that didn't work, and then they found one thing that worked, and then they did that again and again and again and again and again. And that's the thing that they teach you. So it's the same thing on my channel. Very often, a lot of the things that I've done have just been a bunch of failures. But there's some few key aspects of things that I figured out that has worked massively for me in terms of happiness, in terms of semen retention, in terms of understanding women, and I don't want you to do the same mistakes as I have, right? So, allow yourself to be led. That's number 1. And then number 2 is lead yourself. Number 3 is lead a team, or lead other people, or lead employees, or lead others that are following you on your journey. And then the number 4 and 5 is lead women, lead kids. That those two we're keeping far away from us. I'm explaining now about confusion, about you being stuck in the allow yourself to be led. Because right now you're being stuck in the sense of following so many different directions. You're probably watching 10 different YouTube channels that are all saying the different things. And they contradict each other sometimes, maybe even. Right? If one dude is like, let's say for example, Grant Cardone. I don't listen to him in terms of real estate because I don't want to do real estate right now. Does that make sense? But if he has success videos, okay, I'll listen to it because he talks about sales sometimes, etc., etc. So I still subscribe to him. The same thing with valuetainment. If he talks about mafia bosses or whatever it is that he's talking about, I'm not interested. If he talks about the economy or he brings on someone who has an economist view of what's happening currently right now, I listen to it. But I don't listen to what he says about other things that I'm not interested in, that is not particular for my field or what I'm trying to accomplish with my goals. Does that make sense? So, yes, you might be subscribed to many YouTube channels, but don't follow everything that they say, because then you'll eventually become confused. I don't know who to follow. What should I do? And then you'll be paralyzed, analysis paralysis, and trying to plan what you're going to do. No, you need to decide what you're going to do and then take massive action on it. 95% of your time should be spent taking action, making money, serving other people. And then the other 5% should be planning and thinking, okay, and studying. What should I be doing? What should I be doing? And then you have your to-do list, and then you massively take off. Every single day, they should be like an engine starting. That's like your planning. And then you massively take off on the runway every single day. It's your exponential growth curve, you taking action. If you don't take action, you're basically a parked airplane on a tarmac doing nothing. That's the academics of the world. That's the college professors you're listening to if you're going to college. They're stuck on the tarmac not doing crap. They're teaching you. It's ridiculous. They should be teaching by example. And then they make a YouTube video about it. Do you understand what I mean? YouTube is your university right now. It's ridiculous for you to go to college. It's just confusion. So, again, masculinity is knowing exactly what you want, making a decision, and then gunning for it. And if you figure out down the line, after you've been committed to a path for longer than 6 months, preferably a year or 2, okay, this is why you need to figure out what you want quickly and fast and then go for it, right? You don't want to be wallowing in 2 years, 3 years trying to figure out what you want, because then you'll be stuck in 2 or 3 years as well. You won't have done anything. You'll still be in the planning stage. You'll still be on the tarmac. That's the problem. You need to figure out what you want, and it should only take maximum, absolutely maximum, a week, right? Or maybe 3 days or 4 days if you've got a coach. You spend 1 or 2 sessions figuring it out, and it's like, okay, I know what I want now. I'm doing this, and we're gonna do it until I succeed. And if it needs to be adapted, we'll make some changes. But if you have a coach, he's gonna tell you that you're not being consistent enough. If you're feminine, trust me, it's not the project that's the problem. It's your consistency. Oh, but I'm failing and it's not working very well. And it's because of the coronas and it's because of this and it's because of that. And it's just a bunch of excuses. You just are not being consistent enough in doing the thing that's necessary in order for you to achieve the goal. An example of this is someone who says, oh, I've been applying for jobs and I'm not getting any jobs and it's impossible for me to get a job. No, you just haven't been consistent enough. Yeah, but I'm applying for jobs every single day. I gave out 4 applications yesterday, and in total this week I've given out 20. You suck. You need to make sure that you give out 20 a day or 50 or 100 a day, because if you're not being consistent. You're not doing the things that's necessary, or you're not producing enough volume. Does that make sense? You gotta know what you want, and it should only take 3 or 4 days, maximum a week, to figure out what it is that you want to do, and then you go for it. And then everything else is the distraction. all distractions are equal. You're going to come with someone saying, oh, this is a better opportunity, and this is a better opportunity, and this is a better opportunity, and you're basically allowing your train to get derailed, and then you have to like put massive efforts into putting it back on the rails to wherever direction you're going to go. Masculinity is a decision. This is the path, and then the path that I'm on is a stepping stone to my next path. I'm not going to be on this path forever, but I'm going to be on this path enough for it to give me the exponential jumping phase to take me to the next level in 6 to 12 to 18 months. Then I'll know a bit more about this path that I'm on, and I'll know if what I'm doing is working or not. By taking massive action for months and 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 months at a time, then you'll know for sure that it wasn't just you, it was the project that sucked. Does that make sense? Your femininity, however, gets confused. Why? Because your fear of failure and your fear of what other people are going to think, and you're basically in your head all the time wondering, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? And you're basically asking a bunch of people, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And you're basically becoming confused because you're asking every single person, and you're watching all of these different YouTube gurus instead of choosing the one or choosing the two that are basically saying the exact same thing, and it's for your perfect path and direction. Does that make sense? I listen to 4 guys on YouTube, pretty much. And those guys are teaching me, like I'm getting from them exactly what's on my path, my niche, the thing that I want to learn right now. And I'm focused. Being masculine is focused. Being feminine is being scattered. Shallow, shallow, shallow everywhere. Right? Not making progress. You want traction. You want your wheels to go down on the asphalt and then to take off. Right? Let's see. This is very interesting. If you look at it from a feminine men perspective and masculine women perspective, this goes both ways. They're very often confused. But masculine men know exactly what they want, and feminine women know exactly what they want. You'll notice this if you ask around. Okay? You notice a woman that's very unburdened, she's very feminine, very pretty, very everything. You'll ask her, well, what do you want out of life? She'll tell you, I just want love. I just want family. I'm being confused by the world. They're telling me that I should become a man to get a career, to go to university, to do all that stuff. But I don't really want that, she'll tell you, because she's feminine. I just want to find love and for him to provide for me and for me to enjoy my life and to spend time with my friends and just enjoy. Right? To be provided for and protected by. That's what a feminine woman is going to tell you. A masculine woman is going to be confused. She's like, oh, I don't know what I want. And it's like, because they're telling me I should do this, but I kind of want this, but I don't know. And they end up not doing anything because they're just confused. And they go about being tossed to and fro by everyone who's telling them different things. Men are exactly the same way if they're feminine. It's femininity. Do you understand? For men. For women, it's masculinity because they know their inherent nature is femininity and they should go in that direction, but then everyone's telling them to go in the masculine direction. Ridiculous. For men, what do we want? Masculine men are exactly the same. All of us are exactly the same. We want money, sex, and power. Believe it or not. Oh, that was a surprise. No, it's not. Masculine men, that's what we want. We want a fantastic sex life. We want power, okay? Because we know that the more power I have as a masculine man, the more I have the ability to do. And that's extremely important to me. I want power. I want action in my life. Because the more action I take, the better I become at the things that I do. And then the more I'm able to achieve my purposes. I want power. The ability to do. And I want money. Because money very often equals time. And if I have time, I can make more money, and I can hire more people, and we can achieve our purposes together, and it's more power. Do you understand what I mean? This is how masculine men think. Feminine men are going to be confused, and they're going to be like, I wrote a comparison. I've different things here. Okay, for men, masculine men, it's about decisions. I want to make a decision fast. Okay, well, what is it in Think and Grow Rich? He says, the rich, or those that are, what is it again? The rich make decisions slowly. No, wait. Yes, they make decisions slowly, but then once they've made a decision, they change the decision. No, it's the opposite. They make a decision quickly. Okay, that's what it is. They make a decision quickly, and then they're very slow to change that decision. Okay, femininity, they take a long time to make a decision, and then they change that decision quickly. You see the difference? Massive difference, right? And that's what masculine men do. And femininity, they can't decide, they don't know what they want, so they procrastinate. Very often that has to do with fear. Because masculine men, it has to do with I don't care. I don't care what happens. I don't care what people think. I don't care. I want to take risk because that's risk-reward ratio. That's what I want. I want to limit my risks and do them educatedly, right? But I want risk. Because I know the more risk I have, the more the more the reward is substantial. At the same time, I want to make an educated risk. Okay, so I'm studying and I'm focusing. It's like putting all of your eggs in one basket and then focusing on the basket and making sure that everything around it is perfect so that everything works out. Right? Femininity has tons of different baskets and don't know how to protect them all, and I don't know what to do, and where they don't focus. Diversification. Femininity has to do with the fear of failure and what people think. Let's see. Masculine men don't care about what people think. Okay, academics. Masculine men, it has to do with taking action. Feminine men, very often, they get stuck in the planning phase. Academics, professors, never getting off the tarmac. Masculine men has to do with depth. Okay? Masculine men want depth, meaning we choose a subject and then we massively dig deep. We dig deep in order to figure it out, to figure everything out. We focus. Okay? Femininity always remains in the shallow because it's lazy. It doesn't really go very deep because that's not its intent. Feminine men don't go deep because it's too much hard work. I want easy. I don't want hard work. I don't want difficult. I don't want rejection or failure, right? Masculinity loves rejection and failure, and we go deep to figure it out. Masculinity has to do with thinking big thinkers. Femininity is like, oh, we got to think about this and boo. And do you understand what I mean? The difference? Masculinity understands rationally that we overestimate what we can do in the short term and we underestimate what we can do in the long term. That's why we like to think big and think long term, because we all underestimate it, because we're all emotional creatures. We all start out feminine, and when we're feminine, we don't see the big picture. Right? Because you're focused on the now so much, you don't know what's going to happen 10 to 20 to 50 years from now. But the moment you become masculine, you begin to think long term. You begin to think, oh, how can I set myself up? I don't care if I work for free for 10 years, for 20 years. I don't care. Because I know that if I work for free right now, as long as I've chosen the right niche and the right path, I'm going to become a billionaire. Because I'm going to be way ahead of everyone else who's focused on what's successful now, right? People that are focused right now on, oh, I want to become an influencer, I want to become a YouTube star, blah, blah, blah. They're very often stuck in what's happening right now. But what's going to happen in 10 years, 20 years? Will YouTube even be around? Because everyone hates YouTube and Google these days. And we're like, there needs to be a competitor so that we can be uncensored, right? The probability that YouTube and Google will be uncensored in 10 to 20 years' time is probably zilch. So there's going to be something else in the future that's more important to us. And the ones that are preparing for that and for the businesses of the future, those are the ones that become rich. Those are the guys that are masculine because they're preparing in advance of everyone else. They're leaders and they're willing to go through the mud and be the first and get stuck and fail and be paid nothing, or even worse, pay in order for them to get the knowledge that they need in order for them to become successful at the very end. Do you understand what I mean? This is how we think. Thomas Edison wasted so much time inventing the electric bulb. He failed and failed and failed again. Feminine men would have never done that. They would have given up. But he kept going. He kept going. He kept going. Even though he was losing tons of money in the process. What else? Femininity is all about emotion. It's all about the now. It's all about the short term. It's all about how I'm feeling. Okay? Masculinity is about rational, logical, engineering thinking. This is what I do. This is the cause. And this is going to be the effect. Emotion doesn't think about the cause very often. Emotion thinks about what's happening to him or to her. Meaning the effect. That's the effect. But what caused those emotions? Masculinity thinks both. Cause and effect. I need to know the cause. This one's way more important. It's rational. It's logical. If this is what happens, then that's going to be the outcome. The outcome for femininity is everything. Emotion is alpha omega. So they don't think about the cause. And because of that, they're tossed everywhere to and fro, never being able to figure out what actually works. Figuring out the truth. Figuring out how to become successful. Because they're so focused on emotion. Their own emotions. Does that make sense? Instead of focusing on other people's emotions and how to help them to progress, right? Because that's the cause and effect. Let's see. Again, masculinity has to do with delayed gratification. I've already explained this. Let's see. And most of all, masculinity has to do with consistency. The boring, the mundane, okay? The basically doing the same thing again and again, every single day, every single day, every single day, until, and as we go about doing those boring and mundane things every single day. And it's very good to be on semen retention during that time, because then you don't need the spike. You don't need any spike. It's just consistency. Boring, mundane consistency, but being fired up outside your brain that you know that if I just keep being on this path for a long period of time, I will achieve the thing that I seek. Okay? If I stay on this path and do this thing again and again and again, and I keep improving continuously, it's the kanai, right? Anthony Robbins teaches is constant, never-ending improvement. Masculinity goes through the mud and keeps improving the boring and mundane and doesn't care that it's boring and mundane. Because he's fired up by the vision, by the dream of the exponential growth curve that's going to happen when people will flock to him like no one's business to figure out what he's doing, how he did it, how did he accomplish this, and man, you are absolutely amazing. That's what masculinity keeps in his brain. Because everyone's success journey is a boring one. Like, you wouldn't believe it, but Michael Jordan's success journey was freakishly boring. It was mundane. It was the same thing every single day, in and out. Failure upon failure upon failure upon failure. Right? Do you know how difficult it is? Like, wasn't it Kobe or something who did, like, he had to score 100 in a row or something. It was like a ridiculous number in a row before he could quit for that day. Right? 100 in a row. Or free throws or whatever it is that he was shooting. Right? Boring. It's incredibly boring. But when you're winning games, man, it's exhilarating. When you're becoming one of the greatest athletes in the history of mankind, man, it's exhilarating. Do you understand what I mean? Masculinity. Femininity would have been like, oh man, I love it when people look at me and I'm awesome and all that stuff. Practice? practice. Allen Iverson, right? I don't know. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Hope you got a lot out of this. The whole point of this video is basically helping you to understand that you want to make a decision and you want to stick with that decision no matter how boring and mundane it is in order for you to accomplish your dreams and goals. Hire a coach, okay? DM me at Men of High Value in order to help you on that journey to stick to it. Stick, okay? And to choose the right thing, because you don't want to choose the wrong thing and then have to stick with it for a long period of time, because you have to do that, right? So make sure you choose the right thing and then go for it. The guys that have actually told me a business idea and I absolutely loved it, I'm like, man, this is amazing. They're the ones that have massively progressed on their journey. The guys that come to me and they're like, I'm not sure what I want. I can't help them in many aspects. And then I'll come with all of my suggestions and they're like, no, I don't really think that's for me. I don't really think that's for me. And they basically wasted their entire month, first month with me, paid me, and then we didn't really progress anywhere because they couldn't decide on something and make a decision. If you're struggling to make a decision, I literally have a page of 75 plus business ideas that I don't have capacity to do right now, but that I know would become, like, maybe not all of them would become multi-million ideas, but there's a few key there. Oh my gosh, that would become absolutely massive, okay? For those that had the power and the capability of doing that. Okay, those that are my clients have access to those business ideas if they want them. Because they paid me and I don't have capacity to do it, but I want someone to do them, right? Anyway, let's handle questions. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. Let's see what we say here. Hello, brother. It's good to see you. I believe I'm in stage 1. My goal right now is to become a man of high value. Great. What are you doing to progress on that journey, man? Most importantly though, work 60 to 80 hours, 70 to 80 hours, get your 3 jobs and get going. That's what we need. Hope you have a fantastic day. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this with as many people as possible, and I'll see you in the next one.